Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, Shabal.
Thank you for taking time on your busy schedule to be here on the show. I'm truly honored. Now, I'm going to start off with an icebreaker question. I'm going to ask you this question. Who's your favorite sports team and why?
Oh, the Boston Red Sox, because Fenway. No question.
Oh, just because of Fenway? That's the reason why they're your
Just
favorite
because of
team?
Fenway. When you walk into Fenway and you smell the smells of Fenway, there's no way that you don't tear up. And I know there's no crying in baseball, but come on, it's Fenway Park.
Oh, well, I can understand that, because, I'm a Cubs fan, and I understand the Wrigley Field. It's one of the best, ballparks out there. And I
Absolutely.
understand that sentiment there. So that's
Exactly.
really cool. Yeah, definitely. So now I'm gonna let's get right into it. Can you share with us about your practice? Being as the Audacity coach.
Yeah, so I am the Audacity coach, and what that means is I help people who are on the brink of something spectacular figure out how to get out of their own way so that they can make that thing happen. And I help them tap into their audacity. I'm on a mission to do just that with as many humans as possible so that I can sit back and watch the world change. So that's what I do.
Awesome. So how did you decide to become a life coach?
About 10 years, just over 10 years ago, I just celebrated 10 years. I can't get used to that. So 10 years ago, I was an organizational development consultant for the government with a fancy pants job, doing the fancy pants thing with the fancy pants heels and the Pentagon and the whole nine. And I had a very important job that I hated. It made my stomach crawl every time. It was, you know how you get that Sunday night, oh, another week? I got that crap Saturday morning. Okay. That's how much I didn't like this work. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want that, but I didn't know what I wanted. And I realized that a lot of the people I knew were experiencing that same sort of angst, that same sort of frustration. And I always dreamed of becoming a coach. I had learned about coaching in graduate school, but it was something that people did after they had complete careers, retired, and then came back as an executive coach. Really, life coaching was pretty darn new, relatively new. And the only coaches I knew about were executive coaches or career coaches. So I decided to start the Audacity Coach because I wanted to make my niche about an ideal, not about a life compartment. And I've been doing that ever since.
That's really awesome. So of course, you've actually done a lot of great stuff, and of course, you just recently written your book called Hilda, Take Your Inner Naysayer. Can you share with us more about that book?
I can. Want to see it? It's pretty. My book. I wrote a book. It's very exciting. Thank you. So Hilda is my tongue-in-cheek version of the inner critic, the inner naysayer, that voice in your head who is there just to tell you how much you suck, just to keep you small and to remind you that you can't do something. You shouldn't do that. You don't really know. You don't really want to do that. She is that voice in your head who just fills it with nonsense, specifically designed to hold you back. Now, a lot of other coaches have talked about her as the inner critic or the inner saboteur, or other people have talked about her like Seth Godin calls it the lizard brain, gets all scientific with it, or taming your gremlin. It's been a gremlin or a creature or whatever. I wanted her to kind of look like that girl in high school I hated. That's what she looks like. Sorry. Her name was not Hilda. I protected her. But it also had a ridiculous name. Apologies to people named Hilda, because that's what that voice is like, right? And you get to name your Hilda whatever you want, but I want to humanize that voice so that we can then figure out how to differentiate all of that noise that Hilda makes in our head from what is actually true for us.
All right. So how long did it take for you to write that book?
A little over a year. Yeah.
Wow. So what was your process in putting together that book?
Well, the first thing I did was fight the idea of writing this book. That was step one. I wanted to write a book on really positive, audacious ideas, not on the inner critic and Hilda. That didn't sound terribly exciting to me. So I actually fought the idea of doing this book, but all of the folks in my circle, my team, my closest friends and family were saying, no, that's the piece of content that we want the most. And the truth of the matter is, with some soul searching, I realized that my work isn't so much about the goals and the goal setting. It really is about squashing self-sabotage. That's what Audacity coaching really is at its core. And so that's when I decided to write the book. The process from there, I utilized a lot of action research by doing blabs, back when blab was a thing, hosting blabs and asking a lot of questions about that noise in your head. And I would host an event, tell everybody really clearly I was doing research on the book, ask a lot of questions that are none of my business. And people were very vulnerable and open in sharing. Then I would go back, transcribe that 2.5 hour event, look through those notes and start looking for patterns. I also dug through all of my coaching notes for the last decade and said, okay, what are the patterns of Hilda? And I started to see that this voice is almost universally relatable. Almost every person I've ever talked to feels like they have a Hilda. And the few people who have said they don't, they're not really fun to be around. Let's be real.
Wow.
Well, you know, the people who are above it, they're a little arrogant and not my peeps.
Yeah.
But what I started to realize is there really were some patterns to this. There were kind of 4 different ways that I saw Hilda showing up, and it helped me to categorize the book. And then from there, it was just a matter of writing a ton of stories, picking out the very best ones that best exemplified those 4 different Hildas, and then packaging this beast together.
Oh, wow. That's really awesome there. So, I mean, because here's what's really awesome about this is the fact that, I like right now, content marketing was happening right now in Cleveland. And one of the things that I looked at, while looking through their website is the fact that, most of the speakers are authors. And from what they were saying is what I saw, like, that's like, writing a book is like the long form part of content marketing. And so in a sense, how has writing a book for you has helped your business?
Well, it's a little early to answer that question since the book came out last Thursday and today is Wednesday. But the way that the book has helped my business is it's completely cemented what my thought leadership is all about for the next at least 5 years. I've written a lot of little ebooks and, PDF downloads, and I've written a lot of different content over the years. But I haven't actually anchored myself to one specific concept that I think is going to change the world, which I know is kind of a Pollyanna kind of thing to say, but I don't care. I really do believe that squashing self-sabotage has the ability to change the world. And that's very important to me. So what it's done so far is it has changed the direction of my business and really given it much more. It's kind of a strange thing because it in one way niches my business more, that it's all about audacity and self-sabotage. But in another way, it broadens the audience, right? Because now the audience isn't just solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. It's anybody who's standing in their own way of their greatness.
Yeah, that's really interesting there. So basically, I know the fact that, you have to stay within a niche, but in a sense, it's like what you said, you broaden your audience. So is it a good idea to start with a niche first and before once the time comes to, go outside of your niche, in order to reach a big audience?
It's a good question. And I think my answer is going to sound wishy-washy, but that's because it's so individualized. I've seen people who they focus their niche on the kind of demographics, say that they're a mommypreneur. So their niche are people who are just getting pregnant or had their first child within the last 3 years, right? That niche is kind of one of those very obvious ones. If you're going to help people be moms, you're not going to work with dads or guys who don't have children, right? That's an obvious one. It's very demographically focused. Mine has never been demographically focused. My niche has always been about what problem my coaching solves, which I think is even more important because you might be 25, you might be 52. If you have that problem of, I feel like I'm on the brink of something special, but I can't figure out how to get out of my own way and make it happen. That might hit you at different ages. It might hit you if you have children, if you don't have children. But if you're having that problem right now and you've decided you're ready to do something about it, that's when it's time to call me. So I think it's more important that we're really clear about the kind of problems we're solving than the makeup of our avatar.
Wow, that's a really good answer there. Now let's get into Blab. Well, live streaming per se, because you mentioned it earlier about Blab, and I mean, I guess in a sense, I kind of like I mean, even though Blab was around for a year, it kind of changed a lot of how we do live streaming, especially like now, like how we're doing this show now.
Mm-hmm.
Like how important is like live streaming for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and even employees who's trying to build their personal brand?
Anybody who has a personality driven brand, live streaming is the greatest gift ever, right? As an online entrepreneur with a personality driven business myself, can you tell I have personality? It is really palpable. I am so much better on video than I am in my writing. My personality, getting it into my writing, takes a lot of work and several editors, right? In order to show my personality on camera, I just have to turn on the camera. What I loved about Blab and Blab's original concept was push a button, start a talk show, right? And that's exactly what we did on Blab is we pushed a button, we started a talk show, we let our personality shine, we were able to share really great content, be incredibly generous with our time and energy, and we were able to create wonderful communities. And what I'm really excited and encouraged by is that those communities have continued to be on Blab. And while we're all kind of spread out, you're on Huzzah, I'm over on Crowdcast, so-and-so's on Fire Talk, now we have to worry about Smile Time, good God. Everybody's everywhere. It doesn't matter. We're still connected as part of this live streaming community, which is very exciting. For any entrepreneur not using it yet, you are missing the boat. Right now is the charming years where we all have really crazy haircuts and we don't really know what we're doing and all of the technology issues are forgivable. Get on now while it's still forgivable so you can be part of the charming years, make all your mistakes alongside us. And then when this becomes, and it's very soon, right? I feel like we're on the cutting edge of where live streaming is really going to a whole new level. Right now we're live streaming on Facebook Live and in Huzzah simultaneously. That's insane. A year ago, nobody would have thought that was possible. So you really want to get on this bandwagon as soon as possible so you can get comfortable with these technologies.
Yeah, that's really awesome there. I mean, that's the thing about it is like, I feel like, Blab really, broadened those horizons for every one of us, to see the possibilities of live streaming. Now, of course, like, for myself and for those who's going to be listening to this show soon, and those who are watching now on, on Facebook Live and Husa, is the fact that for me it allows me like right now to do this podcast recording right now and everyone is watching right now, so this is a cool part about about live streaming.
Definitely.
Yeah. So of course now I gotta ask this: did you had any doubts? When you saw your coaching business that you're going to succeed, and if so, how did you overcome those doubts?
I had doubts pretty much 3 or 4 times a day. I feel like I had doubts every time I was hungry. It was about the same time. I don't know why they went together. Yes, I had doubts. Being an entrepreneur is hard. It sucks sometimes. It's a roller coaster ride. It takes a certain amount of audacity, even a touch of arrogance every once in a while to decide that you don't want to work for the man. You want to be the man. You want to create your own thing. And that is a bit scary and overwhelming at times. And of course I had doubts. The best way to get over those doubts is to keep your eyes on your own paper. So often we are comparing ourselves to others. We become insatiable consumers of every piece of informational product out there and every other guru out there instead of trying to find our own voice. And there's nothing wrong with research and following people that inspire you and that motivate you. Of course not. That's a good thing. But when that bleeds into comparing yourself to somebody's chapter 17 and your chapter 1, it's time to just keep your eyes on your own paper and you do you. When I'm at my best, I'm ignoring what everybody else is doing and I'm just focusing on creating epic experiences for my audience and my clients. When I'm at my worst, I'm hiding behind the computer, just taking in what everybody else seems to be doing and comparing my shortcomings to that. So I really feel like that's been the key to getting over some of that doubt.
All right. So of course now, I gotta ask this: what are the challenges of running a business?
Knowing if you're doing it right, it's such a strange thing. We go into business because we don't want to be accountable to somebody else. We don't want, I mean, that's one of the reasons, right? We want to be able to give ourselves a raise on a Tuesday because, not because we waited for our annual review. The problem with that is, where are the checks and balances? When do we give ourselves a performance review? When do we decide that we've learned enough that we can branch out? When do you give yourself a promotion and take on more responsibility or leap into the unknown? All of those decisions, the just multitude of decisions there are in a given day, is exhausting and very difficult. And that's definitely one of the challenges. So that's one of the reasons that coaches exist, right? Is so that you can have that sounding board without having a boss that you're beholden to.
Yeah, definitely. And the flip side of that question as well, the rewards of running a business.
The rewards are unbelievable because I have so much time freedom and location independence. All I need is a really good Wi-Fi signal in my laptop and I can do what I do, which is really exciting. The other thing is, creatively, I am more creatively self-expressed than I've ever been in my entire life. I can't imagine letting that go, of being able to express myself in this way. And then the other reward is I get to be among some of the most badass people on the planet. I mean, all of the entrepreneurs that I know are the kind of people I want in my life.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. So now, for social media, I know, there's a lot of, people saying you should be on this platform or you should be on this platform per se. So, what in your mind, which social media platforms should people be on, that is right for them?
It depends on where your audience is. I mean, where is your audience? If you are somebody who talks to human resources directors, you cannot ignore LinkedIn. If you're a life coach, you can, right? Because I ignore LinkedIn. I'm not trying to get HR recruiters to care, but that's where they're hanging out. So you need to know where your people are. The second thing you need to know is where you do your best work. If you're an incredible writer, you need to be on platforms like Medium and writing all the time where people can consume all of your thoughts and share them and make it really shareable. If you're best on video, you need to use these video things. Also know with video, if you're best one-to-many, where you're speaking to an audience out there that isn't interacting with you, or if you're actually better in the interactive space like we're on right now. I'm much better in the interactive space. So I spend most of my social media time in interactive spaces, either a Facebook group or using one of these multi-screen platforms, live streaming platforms. So it really is about those two things: knowing where your audience is, what are they tuning into, and then also recognizing your strengths. That said, one of the biggest uglies is Facebook. Everybody loves to hate Facebook. However, how many times have you pulled up Facebook this morning, right? Like, we all go there. It's one of the most ubiquitous tools. And so for me, embracing Facebook, even when I'm sick of cat photos and videos, is something I just have to get over and really utilize it. Facebook Live is my new favorite toy. It sounds like it's one of yours, yeah?
Yeah, it is. I mean, the fact of the matter is that, since Facebook is the dominant player in social media, and with Facebook Live, that's where I guess that's where you can have a most impactful reach per se,
Exactly.
and kind of avoid the algorithms. In like paying for Facebook ads, you can like use live streaming to get a more reach for your audience, and this is what that's where Facebook Live is good.
I agree. The other thing of what I love about Facebook Live, unlike other live streaming platforms, is I've been building a Facebook audience since I got on Facebook in 2007 or whatever. I don't know when it was, years ago. All these other platforms, I'm starting from zero. right? And when you're starting from zero, just like everybody else, is nothing wrong with that. You don't have those relationships. But with Facebook Live, you do have to get over the fact that your stepmother and your sister and that kid from high school or that chick from high school, they might see your videos as well. That's part of it. That's okay.
All right. So now since you have hosted a show, on beforehand, a lot of people who are broadcasters, podcasters, or the former to ask me a question on the show. So I'm going to allow you to ask me a question.
To ask you a question. Well, I'm curious why you chose this particular platform over the others, because it's definitely a big question we all have to choose. What made you decide that Huzzah was the right choice for you?
Well, I will say I will give credit to Mitch Jackson and Jennifer Hovestad because they have been evangelists for Husa, but also the fact too is that Husa is connected to Facebook Live, and that's why I feel that's where I need to be at, so it makes it easier, to do a Facebook Live event through Husa without using my iPhone, because I will go ahead and say this, for transparency's sake. I did an interview last week using Facebook Live with a Paralympian, and of course the sound quality wasn't that good, but I felt it. But I know that I needed to share her story, so I did that interview, my show, through the Facebook Live, and of course I saw the benefit of that, and so in this case here, I can, it makes it easier for me to do a Facebook Live event through Husa.
I like that. I like that a lot. And then what platform do you absolutely hate? What social media platform do you avoid like the plague? Come on, tell us.
Oh God, I'm trying to think. Well, oh boy, I'm not really into Pinterest anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason is because I didn't see the need for it. Because I realized that's not where my audience is at right now. So, but I will use Pinterest for myself, though. To use that as a motivational platform for myself to achieve my goals in being successful as an entrepreneur for the better. So that's what I use Pinterest for, but not use it for my business.
So you use it, like you consume material on Pinterest, but you don't use it to promote your business in any way. Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah, the only platform I've actually loathed was Snapchat. I gave it a month and I just couldn't. I am not the most serious person in any stretch, but I still, the faces that they put on each other, and it's just ridiculous. It's not a good use of my time.
I understand that there, because I will be honest, beforehand, I definitely didn't like Snapchat beforehand, but then I gave credit to Christy Guillotine, who has a show, who has a Twitter chat called Chat Snap, and that really got me into relooking Snapchat, and I liked it a lot.
Oh,
and
there you go.
Yeah, so, but in a sense, though, it kind of was the preparation for Instagram stories. So
True. I have tinkered a little with Instagram stories. I haven't really fallen down that rabbit hole, but I've watched a few stories, and it is kind of interesting. Oh, Instagram stealing Snapchat's thunder. Ooh, ugly.
Yeah, that's the way how it is, unfortunately. But anyway, so 3 more questions.
Okay.
If you had the opportunity to spend one day with someone you admired, past or present, outside your family members, to learn from, who would that person be?
Dr. Maya Angelou. When I was 14 or 15 years old, I saw Dr. Angelou speak at the University of Florida. She was actually doing a poetry reading, and I didn't want to go. I didn't know who she was. We're going to a poetry reading. What is this? And my mentor was taking me there. And just listening to her voice, I can't imagine anything that would have been a more monumental experience than to sit at dusk with a cup of iced tea and listen to her just talk. I could listen to her all day.
Wow. All right. So where can people find out more about your book, Hilda? Take your inner naysayer, and then also your coaching practice.
Yeah, thank you for that. You can check out the book. You can get all the information at hildathebook.com, which is the best place to go. And that'll send you over to sign up for my list if you would like to. That way you can download what I call the handy dandy Hilda cheat sheet. What a mouthful. So that you can have a quick image and like cheat sheet, little guide to the 4 different Hildas and how she likes to show up. It also has the links over to Amazon so you can pick up the book. And if you want to learn more about me, my coaching practice, my community, and my upcoming live stream shows, you can go to coachjennie.com. That's Jennie with an IE, coachjennie.com.
All right. Well, Coach Jennie, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here
Absolutely.
on Once a Word. I'm truly honored. Do you have any final words for our audience?
I do. You know, if you are sabotaging yourself in some way, please stop it. Join the Stop Hilda movement. We want to figure out how to get that crazy broad who lives in your brain to shut up. And I recognize that the premise of my book is ridiculous. That's kind of the point. All of those messages are equally ridiculous. Stop letting them hold you back.
All right. Well, Coach Jennie, again, I want to say thank you for joining me on What's the Word.
Thank you.